Back in 1994, there was not much cooler than Mortal Kombat. It was also the year that the cruelest imaginable joke by a bunch of cold-hearted, greedy SOBs from England mentally scarred a whole generation of gamers and taught them to never trust the media at first glance again, which is maybe a good thing to be fair, but still, some wounds never heal, and this video will lay out one of them. So you see, Mortal Kombat, it leveled the playing field, an American take on Street Fighter. The controls and overall playability were disgraceful compared to Street Fighter 2, but back then, in those days, anything that made things on your telly move by hitting buttons was incroyable. And everyone who owned a Super Nintendo was able to play very decent ports from the arcades, from the comfort of their own families, or sometimes a friend's home. Some kids even ceased their bullying just to be able to play Mortal Kombat because some kid they used to beat up had a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis. When Mortal Kombat hit the home console market, the West was home to some of the safest streets in the world because every no-good kid was busy figuring out finishing moves. Back in those days, the internet wasn't all that common. It would send you running because of the sudden creepy ghost sounds of a PC would make. So codes and secrets were much harder to come by, and rumors were able to spice things up without getting debunked in seconds. People even visited concrete buildings that offered nothing other than books in those days. Can you imagine? I believe they used to call them something like bibliothèque or libraries in some areas. But when it came to video games, special moves and cheat codes were gathered through trading cards and magazines and sharing in school. Or if you were uncool, you'd get a game genie which just sucked out all the fun in a mere few moments.
Yeah, they think I'm a fake.
So like I said, Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were by far the most popular platforms for Mortal Kombat. While the SNES port was overall smoother and looked better, one thing it did not have was the most important element of the whole franchise. SNES players got sweated or whatever. It made sense for Nintendo as their image was really a friendly toy company, but it sent SNES owners out for blood, and Genesis owners finally had a justified, undeniable reason to claim they had the better system and laugh at Nintendo fans. And it took Mortal Kombat 2 to turn the tide, but that's not what we're here for. Nintendo fans felt shafted. So bad, some of us, including myself, had a hard time sitting on crappy, indestructible wooden chairs back in school. Violated, helplessly victimized, innocence taken away by a Japanese company we had all forked out so much money for. The humiliation we received from Sega fanboys, the losing of face, times were bleak, and homework and school and the hope for a happy future was out the window. We were down on the ground, vulnerable to have someone kick us, which Sega Genesis people happily did for us. Luckily, we were heard, and the official Nintendo magazine from the UK had the scoop. They had one of the lead programmers of the SNES port spill the beans and revealed that they had coded the blood in there and it could be unlocked. They even named the guy Rolf Apilo. Rolf Apilo. I don't know. The magazine instantly became the best thing any news agent ever offered, and it set the gamers world on fire. After this tough period of mourning, we got justice. A group of American rebels flipped the bird after they were licensed by Nintendo and they had already received their money. They pulled a fast one on Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo beat-em-ups community had their biggest heroes of all time presented to them. Now sure, these hoops you had to jump through were a pain, but the reward was endlessly worth the time and effort it took. Let me get into it. To unlock the shocking gore we all craved for, it took some reconfiguration in the controls in the option menu, then take the fight to a third round. Now this is where it got hard. You had to punch in the code before the round engaged. The code was tough. It went like this: L, select, start, X, diagonal, up, A and B. You then had to win the fight with the left controller unit, not the right controller unit, had to be player 1, and execute a finishing move. Then the hardest bit came. During the finishing sequence you had to press up, X, Y, B, X, Y and A. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life up until then. Karate sequences I had to memorize and perform to raise my level during examination was peanuts compared to this. It took me well over 200 attempts, probably more, but in the end I did it. I was killing off opponents left and right, and I smeared the blood of fallen fighters all over Sonic fanboys who just kept refusing to admit their system was inferior because they believed in TV commercials. My mind was blown. Mortal Kombat with more gore than an evening of rewatching Army of Darkness and other similar movies offered. In superior arcade-like quality every minute outside of school hours. Mortal Kombat up your... Yeah, boy! Life was good. Who needs a girlfriend? No need to obsess over ever kissing a girl. I had all I needed right there in my bedroom. It was then the best time of my life after trying so hard for so long. But then, you know, all good things come to an end. I woke up and it was all a dream. The next issue of Nintendo Magazine System said it was all one big joke. April Fool, you fools. And there you have it, a cruel joke that literally robbed thousands of people of hours of their life getting stressed over nothing. Probably some destroyed controllers, furniture or television, and endless opportunities for teenagers. Imagine the time they could have spent outdoors. All to push the sales of a magazine that not much later ceased to exist. NMS was the best Nintendo magazine and overall game magazine of all time, and I think included some of the funniest British humor. But their biggest joke, it landed a bit too hard. But I will say, well played, sir. I hope you rot in a place somewhere where Scorpion usually hangs out as well. So, what say you? Do you know about this attack on innocent kids? Were you one of the victims? Did you read it, but you were old enough to understand the Super Nintendo console could not measure the weight of cartridges? Let me know in the comments and make sure you uppercut that like button and perform a Johnny Cage nut punch to the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and let's pray together. Mortal Kombat 2 will be a good movie and will be followed by many more. Alright guys, see you later.
Subscribe quietly or there will be trouble.